Hello and welcome back everyone to Adobe Live from the sofa here in the UK. Today we have Rachel as our guest, but unlike the other times, we're going to start with Emma. Emma is our new community manager. Welcome, Emma. How are you?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. Some new faces on screen today, right?
Yeah. Can you introduce yourself to our community? I can see a lot of you already in the chat, so hi everyone.
Hi everyone, yes, absolutely. Before anyone panics, Rufus, yourself, and Tim aren't going anywhere, and that's not changing. You'll just be seeing a lot more of me in the next couple of weeks and months. We have a really cracking team working hard to bring some really talented artists to this little corner of Behance and YouTube, if you're watching from there. And yeah, I just wanted to join in for a bit of a chat as well, a bit of fun, and get to chat with the artists that I invite every day from now. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Great, welcome Emma. And
Thanks.
of course, welcome Rachel. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
Where are you based?
So I live near Milton Keynes in the UK,
Okay.
just outside of London. But
So how are these days for you?
yeah, I think, to be honest, they're quite similar to my normal life. So I've worked from home for like 5 years now. So I work from home, go out, take my dogs out, go to the shop, and that's it. So not
Cool.
much different.
So what is it that you do?
So I'm a freelance illustrator. I work on mostly editorial projects, but I've also done some kind of advertising, packaging products. Yeah, so lots of different things, and just really love it.
So how did you get into illustration?
So I was originally it's a long story. So where to start? So
We have 1 hour.
Okay.
But this is where I expect you, Rachel, to talk about your biology background, because that's really
Oh yeah, see, there's everything. It just when I was at school, I always wanted to be a doctor, but then I didn't get in to study medicine, so I did biomedical sciences instead, which is quite relevant for what's going on now. So I did that, but then moved after I left university. I went skiing for 3 years, which is also really random. 3 winter seasons skiing abroad, and then I came back and got a real job as a project manager. But then I got made redundant from that, which was like the most amazing thing probably that's ever happened to me, because it's led me into doing illustration. And it's so from there, it's been like 2 years now that I've been doing this full time. And it's just so much more, I don't know what's the word for it? It just feels so much nicer than, working 9 to 5 every day. I work from home anyway, but I work 9 to 5 doing calls and really in depth, just not as exciting as drawing all day.
And this kind of biology background is inspiring what you do right now quite a lot as well, right? So it's coming back in your career and
exactly.
inspiring your work.
Yeah, so I thought it would be a good idea to have a look at some of the more scientific papers, because there's a lot of like misinformation going around, and I wanted to go straight and look at the source, because the papers that people are reporting on I understand because of my background. So I've been doing that recently. I've done a couple of posts about reading a paper or reading, understanding the background of why we're being told to stay inside, or why we're being told to wash our hands for 20 seconds. And like, I think for me, understanding the why of things makes a massive, I'm like, okay, I understand why I'm doing this, I'm going to do it, rather than being just told to do it. I don't know if hopefully other people think the same as well, so that's why I've been sharing it too. Yeah, it's been cool.
So how did you develop your drawing techniques? Did you have you always drawn? Is it just inside you, or have you done tutorials, or have you taken classes or courses?
I've done like a bit of everything. So I always drew as a kid, and I think I used to draw over like Winnie the Pooh illustrations in books, which I like obsessed with Winnie the Pooh. I think I still am. So like cute little illustrations. So when I was a kid, I did that, and then I still did art at, up to A level. So I did fine art, and then went and did biomedical sciences instead. But I came back to doing a graphic design master's while I was working part-time. So I do have the what's the word? Like the basis of graphic design, but I much prefer illustration and drawing, and then I've done a lot of Skillshare classes too.
Nice. Always nice to throw that in there.
Yeah,
I think we're all using it right now as well, right? All the tutorials,
yeah, exactly.
kind of growing, using that time to learn a bit more as well.
Yeah,
but I saw you were also playing with animation and After Effects, testing that little world, dipping your toe into it.
Yeah, I love animation. It just takes so long, and I can't get my head around some of it. I'm just like, I don't know how to make this transition into this, but it's been so fun, like just the learning process too. So I've been trying. I'd never really used After Effects until a couple of weeks ago, and I did 2 different Skillshare classes and like merged them into doing a little animation about how to make grow plants or something, which is pretty fun. Just fun to learn it as well. And then frame by frame stuff too. I'm doing stuff in here and then moving it to Photoshop. I see here, Fresco.
Yeah, you did some Fresco magic last year on our creative collabs, and you were sharing a couple tips, and I'm really excited to see what you have in store and what's changed and updated since for you, and how you're using it now.
So
how did you get into Fresco? Sorry.
I actually went to an event maybe in the summer last year, and was sent a version, one of the new, the early versions of Fresco, and I was testing it, and it was really cool, so just kept using it.
Brilliant. You have prepared a demo for us today, haven't you?
Yeah, so because Thursdays in the UK, every evening we're at 8 o'clock, we're doing a clap for the NHS, or clap for the carers and other people that are
also on my Instagram story every week.
Yeah, exactly. At least it's light now when we do it. It's not like a pitch black just screaming.
No, people use pots and pans and everything.
It's so cool. Yeah. Like our neighbours as well. I go out and I haven't seen our neighbours in years properly, and now every week we're seeing them, and everyone has a nice chat afterwards, which is really nice. Like a very community thing, isn't it? So because we were doing that, I thought I'd kind of make something relevant around that today.
Yeah, and I heard you were also going to do a little colouring book as well.
Yeah, so I've made this kind of, I sketched it out originally, and I just put some out my front door for some of our neighbours' kids, like just the outlines, which we'll see in a second. So, and I've put it on my website as well if people want to colour in.
You have a lot of people around you who are going to come round. It'd be nice.
Loads of little kids. Like I think 2 doors up the road there's some kids, so it's nice.
Brilliant. Well, that's great.
Yeah, so what you have prepared, did you draw that in the app already, or have you done that on paper and scanned it in?
So I did it on paper first. See, I'll pull it above.
Is that your usual process, how you always work?
Yeah, sometimes I do it on paper, and sometimes I just go straight in. But it depends how I'm feeling. I think the other day because I've got a little moleskine this size. It's quite nice just to sit in front of the TV and sketch. So I did that. This is how I did this the other day, and then pulled it into here, and I've drawn over the outlines. But this is how I work normally anyway. I quite often I print either. So if I'm doing an editorial thing, I print out the layout and 4 times, and then I'll sketch what I think could look cool in the spaces that I've got, because I do a lot for Breathe magazine, and they often send the whole layout, and that's really it's nice to visualize your kind of what I'm thinking, and based around the information that you've had, like the words that you've got as well. So, and then I pull it into this and draw the outlines, send it off. If people are happy with it, then color it.
So where did you get this inspiration from? Is it the Thursday evenings, or is it?
Yeah, so because we're doing the clap, and well, the NHS as well. As a kid, I was I've had a problem with my throat since I was 4, and I've had 70 something operations on it. So the NHS have been a massive part of my life anyway. So it's really cool that now like everyone else is seeing how amazing they are. And it's just nice to like show them our appreciation. So that was kind of what I was thinking with this. So yeah.
Cool. So how would you continue?
So I'm going to start with the oil paint because I really like the live brushes and they're really fun to mess around with, and then look at some colors. I pull these in, like these are some of the standard colors I use. You can see that, can't you? Yeah.
A very specific palette you always see on your Instagram. So
yeah, and I do try and change it up a bit, but I always end up going back to the same things, which is really, yeah, it stresses me out sometimes. I just want to do, just want to change. Yeah, but it's really, sorry.
No, did you draw with anything else before Fresco came out, like Photoshop or Illustrator or something?
Yeah, so actually when I was doing my graphic design masters, I did some illustration in Illustrator, so like more vector ones that you could blow up easier, which was quite fun. But I feel like my style's a bit more free, which is why drawing is better. I have a Wacom tablet as well that I work on Photoshop, and I've used another app that must not be named, but but this is quite cool because I can move like it as soon as I think I could probably show you that yesterday I opened up Photoshop and it was just there. So it's quite cool that there's the whole cloud stuff with it and doing like animations and little movements, just quick GIF type animations. You can pull it across to Photoshop and then do the timeline quite easily. So it's cool.
So how was it to convert from Wacom to an iPad? Because I've always been using a Wacom and I've never had an iPad.
I don't have one of the ones with the screens, so I've only got like, I can't remember what type it is. So I can't remember what it's called, but I can only see on my screen, and I really find it hard to like move around and do this. Well, now I do because I'm so used to this, my iPad now, but yeah, I much prefer it.
Yeah, I feel it always depends what you do, because I'm obviously a UX designer, so
Yeah.
I use it instead of a mouse. I can't remember if I've ever used a mouse. I don't think so, because it just feels so natural using a pen instead of. And I've always had the small Wacom, so never the big ones, because again, I don't do illustration, so it's a different use case, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool.
While we wait, we have a couple people in the chat as well we haven't had a chance to say hi to, right? So a couple people welcoming me, so thanks guys. And also asking if Rachel has a website, which has been shared. So guys, go check out her website as well. And Kirsty, Jonathan, a lot of people on there. Great to see you guys. And anyone with questions, please ask. If you're on Behance, obviously, come over from YouTube. Thanks, Kelly, for the welcome. Sandrine, yeah, ask some questions for Rachel in the meantime.
Questions?
Yes.
Yeah, have you guys in the chat used Fresco before?
Yeah, who's a Fresco fan? Tell us.
Yeah. I've only ever used it once in the Apple Store in Cape Town in December.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I was there with a friend and I drew her name, like a graffiti, and she's like, what are you doing? Let's go clothes shopping. I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I've just seen people using it, and I've also had in other live streams before, I had all these creatives and they were drawing such amazing things. And I mean, I've always been interested, but again, I'm a UX designer, so it's not my priority. So I've just never had the chance to try it out anywhere else than the Apple Store there. But yeah, if once the Apple Store is reopened, I can highly recommend it, because at least if you're like me and you're not, it's not your area of expertise, it's still a nice thing to try. And it's really what I found so impressive. I really tried this thing with oil brushes and the aquarelle, or what is it, watercolor? I don't know how it's called, but one was the water-based and the other one was the oil-based, and how they how they merge into each other.
Which one's amazing, definitely.
Yeah, I really like that. Like you can see all the texture that you get from. It's probably a better way of doing it as well, but you know, when you get used to doing something. But yeah, there's.
How do you set up the canvas? Is it always the same size, or do you have different sizing options?
Yeah, so I've set this up as like an A4. Should I show you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need a beginner's guide.
Yeah, I've just created like an A4. There's some up here, and then you can do custom sizes too.
How long did the whole setup take you from what you just kind of showed at the beginning? With the outline?
Sorry.
How long did the setup take you with the outline and everything?
Maybe an hour.
Okay.
But I think it's because I sit down and I was trying to make it so that it was a coloring book type thing. I think if I did it normally, I'd just sketch it out really quickly.
Yeah, definitely.
But I did it. Sorry.
We have James asking, how have you been finding work before and during lockdown?
Well, it's kind of all. Oh, sorry, using the wrong. Got a bit quieter. And so my husband is a cinematographer, so he normally is on shoots every day or every couple of days, and he's just had no work because he can't go out and do it. So it's been a bit different for him, not as much for me. Like I've still got work that I can get on with because I work from home anyway. But yeah, it's got really quiet.
Seeing a lot more of each other, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he can help you with After Effects.
Yeah, well, every time I'm like, why can't I do this? Can you help me? And he's like, I don't know how to do it. Stop asking me. So then I get really angry with him, which isn't very fair. But
I hope you had more time for your DIY projects. We were just talking about this, your wall and just fixing the house. It's going to look amazing.
Yeah,
I think we're all going to have a spot on life after this.
Yeah, I wrote yesterday, this is my list. I have this many pages of things that need to be done around my house. Like 51 things that we can do. So it's going to be finished by the end of this lockdown.
You're just putting your energy to something else, right? So
yeah,
not bad, James. She's doing fine.
Just too many things to do.
I can also recommend for simple animations. Have you tried XD?
No.
I was using Octavia's drawings. She did them in Fresco as well and saved it as a Photoshop file. And you can open Photoshop files in XD. And she drew Romeo, who's cycling, and I animated the wheels. So he's cycling. Yeah, so you can do like simple things like that. You can do in XD too, and you can export it to an After Effects file if you want to.
That's really cool.
Crazier things.
Might have to try that.
Yeah, try it. He is asking, is Fresco only for iPad? Yes, otherwise I would have it on my computer.
I think can you use it on Android as well? Did I see something like that the other day? Okay, sorry. Or it's coming out.
Stay tuned, yeah.
That's really cool.
Hannah is asking how you're finding work, or if you're being kind of chased after, or how you're kind of setting up your commissions and things like that.
So I have an agent. I'm with the Bright agency, and they've been really good actually recently. I've had quite a lot of work come through them. So that's mostly how I do it at the moment. But I need to go. I think so. When I started, I'd go through and like send out letters and little postcards, and I went last year or like earlier on in last year. I sent out a load of coffee packets to people.
Nice.
Like made these. Oh, I've got them up. Like these. And sent them out to people and said, enjoy your coffee. This is my work, and send my website. So I think I didn't get a lot of work from it though, so it probably wasn't the best load of money to spend. But I think it just like I tried to be a bit innovative in the way that I send stuff, because I bet they get, postcards every day.
It's just nice to have something tangible as well, right? So
yeah, exactly. I think it's obviously hard at the moment because you can't really send anything like that out.
Yeah, and we were also having a chat about Stock. I know you're uploading some of your work on Adobe Stock, and that's another way to, stay, active at home and have a project and, join in.
Yeah, I really love Stock, actually. It's so easy to, I uploaded probably 5 images the other day, just things that I'd done just for fun. And that's it. I don't need to do anything else. I upload them. The tags come up automatically most of the time as well.
Yeah, and there's an in-app integration as well across the CC apps, right, where you can just upload straight from the platform, which is great. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, definitely. And you can also download work. So for clients, they can just kind of look it up, use the keywords, and download your work and buy everything from one platform.
That's really cool. I didn't know you could upload from it.
It's magic.
There are some people asking, Jonathan is asking, maybe you can do XD showcase for use at some point. I've never even seen it. Not sure if we can do that, but on my Behance, I just posted the link. There is the demo file I did with Octavia's drawings. You can download it. There's a download link just at the end when you scroll to the end, and you can download it and see how I've done it with Auto Animate. So yeah, let me know what you're going to do with it. I hope it's inspiring. I really loved Octavia's drawings. It's just so cool that, as I said before, I'm not an illustrator, so it's just so cool using someone else's work and put it into another work and making something else out of it. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. That is compatible, that it does the PSD files, that I can open them.
Yes.
Definitely the next.
So clever.
It's popular in the chat. We also have Daniel asking if you drew the font underneath the artwork.
Yes, I did. So I actually drew this with I didn't keep it. Oh, I just drew wrote my name, wrote like you would. That was ridiculous. Not write my name. I wrote the text and then just drew outlines around it. I wouldn't normally do it like that. I'd just do it like blocky. But I did it so that it could be colored in. But yeah, that's it.
Or are you moving it into Photoshop to add a text layer?
I could do that. No, I drew that one myself. But
do you always draw your font? Because Octavia does that too.
Yeah, I think it's just a bit more fun.
Yeah, I hear that from all of you.
It just makes it a bit more personalized to like your kind of style, or I guess it's just like your style is like your handwriting anyway. So just having text, like writing.
Yeah, it always looks nice as well when you guys handwrite, not when I handwrite.
I think it just kind of goes with your work. I don't. For me, it just matches. So I don't need to like look for a font or a typeface that will match.
Yeah, I feel like it becomes an own artwork when you draw your font.
It's a bit more personal, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So
I'm going for colors. That.
Where did you get the color palette from, or how did you develop it?
It's like just colors I like. It's not that. Was probably the worst kind of explanation, but I just look at colors I like, colors I enjoy drawing with, and then that's it. I think these are kind of like a lot of my colors are similar, and it just all feels very natural. I think that's same with my style. Like it's all just happened. I haven't thought about it too much. These are like, this minty green is probably just one of my favorite colors. There's a wall in my house that's that color as well. So yeah, like my what I like having. Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
It's really part of your identity as well now. You can really, kind of notice the green. I always see that, and it's hard to differentiate yourself, right? So there's a huge, uptake in illustrators and different platforms, and it's just nice to have that own identity for yourself going. So
yeah, colors. Sorry.
So are you still keeping up with the daily virus inspiration, or is that something? Oh no,
I couldn't do it every day. I did want to. I think like there's not like a new scientific thing coming out every day. Well, there is, but it's like quite boring, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same. It's always just that high level and never in depth and stuff.
Yeah, and some of it's like, oh, why is the people in this country, like, why have they got it more than others, or why has this certain like pre-existing condition worse than other pre-existing conditions? And sometimes I think, I don't want to scare people too much too. Like I don't want to give people too much information. They can find out themselves, but I don't want to be the one that like scares people at this, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I wouldn't want to read that. So that's kind of why.
Kind of a filter, right, as well.
Yeah, quite a hard balance to get to be not too much information. Not that you want to hide it, because the information's there, but I just don't want to be the bearer of bad news type thing.
We have loads of lovely comments about your choice of color, at least, so that's a nice little
good
support from the chat. Jonathan's asking, your first commission. What was your first commission, and how did it come about? Do you remember, or?
I think no, I've got no idea.
Do you sometimes
probably family, if that counts? But I've had family pay me, so I guess that counts.
Are they still clients, or?
Well, they probably won't pay me anymore. No, like well, yeah, I did something for my mom recently, which is pretty cute. I like doing stuff for family. But yeah, I think I'm not sure. I've done like tiny little things, like little logos that I did before as well, that kind of more handwritten type logos.
And how do you see your work now?
How do
you see your work now, a couple of years down the line?
It's a lot more because I just was experimenting a lot at the beginning, and I still do. Like, I still like to mix it up a bit and experiment using different, not color, as I've said, stick to the same colors, but different brushes. Like, I probably haven't used like this oil brush that much, but I quite like it. So, sometimes if I just use a different thing and say, oh, actually that looks good. So that's it. But yeah, that wasn't even the question, was it? I've gone off on a massive tangent.
Keep going, it's fine.
We're here to talk.
Sorry.
We have a question, a technical question from Jackie. Is there a limit to the amount of layers you can have in Fresco?
No, I don't think so. And that's one of the things that is amazing, because other apps, there is a limit. So it will hit, like, if you do, I think there's like a 4,000 pixel by 4,000 pixel, and it hits like 20 layers maximum. But this doesn't. I knew that would happen. I've turned it on do not disturb. But this doesn't, that I know of. I haven't hit a limit yet. I think it's probably just as much as your iPad can do.
But what is your usual amount of layers when you do a piece?
It varies, really, because so I do this like blocking out all the colors first, and then I go over. Okay, we're half an hour in, so I'll try and work a bit quicker. But I go over it with a mask, so I'd mask it and then kind of use it as like a clipping mask in Photoshop.
So the way you use layers is like the color. So every color has a different layer. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. If I've got like different people as well, like this, and they're all similar colors, if I'm trying to restrict the layers, then I would do one color per layer. But like, I don't need to now in Fresco, so I just keep going. And each person can have a different layer, or each little bit can have a different layer. That makes sense.
Is the majority of your work, is it usually printed?
Yes. A lot of I've done some like editorials for online magazines, but yeah, most of it is like an editorial. Sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah, so it's printed, and I think I love seeing my stuff in print. So it's just a nice feeling, and yeah.
And Jonathan is asking, does most of your work come via an agent?
Well, it kind of varies. It comes between people that I've worked with before. So I've only been with Bright for 6 months, I think now. So before that, I had clients that were like Breathe magazine, and that people that I already have a lot. So they haven't, but most of the new ones do. Yeah.
So have you always started with freelancing, or have you had a job in illustration before, like a full-time job or something?
No, I went straight to illustration because when I got made redundant, they give you a nice little package to go off and run away. So I had about 6-ish months where I could kind of live on that. So I kind of took that as an opportunity. Otherwise, I probably would have gone and looked for a job. Actually, at that point, I wouldn't have even considered it, but it's cool that it happened like that. Quite lucky.
Particular industry you usually work with, or are you seeing some kind of theme with your kind of clients, or
an industry I normally work? So it's mostly editorial stuff that I do. But I don't know. There's new stuff coming through
nice.
That email was from my agent. So something new. Hopefully. But yeah, it's really cool. It's all different, and I think I like working on different things. Different things make it just keeps it entertaining. Well, that doesn't look very good.
We have Rufus Incognito in our chat.
I was about to say.
Rufus is the Fresco expert. Maybe Rufus has a question. I can put it in the chat for Rachel.
I did mean it when I said he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, Rufus drew his dog. If you want to see Rufus' dog in Fresco, it's on Rufus' Twitter.
Nice. Rachel, you have dogs as well, so this is your next inspiration.
Yeah, I did I did a creative collabs one in a live stream with you guys in November, and I drew my dog then. She's they're both really naughty. I've got 2 now. I only had 1 at the time, but oh no, I did have 2 then. Obviously just ignored the other one. She was a puppy. But they're very naughty and bark at the neighbours, and I think I had to do something nice with the colouring pages.
Do you think it's easier to draw pets or figures, like humans?
I prefer to draw people, but I drew some inanimate objects recently, and I was like, oh, this is a lot easier than people. So I might have to change it, start drawing some things instead of animals. I just can't do. There's only, I think because my dogs are sorry, that should be underneath. My dogs are cockapoos, so they're really furry. And what have I done? Messed that up.
Imagine it would be a real canvas.
Yeah, exactly.
What would you do now?
It's quite nice to draw under things, though. I think I cheat a lot with this.
Yeah, Octavia did that as well. She was masking everything, or she was using these outlines that she drew. She was using it as a mask, as far as I remember. Yeah,
it's there's different ways of doing it, because then you can color inside it by locking the transparent. That's right, locking the transparency. Hard to say. But yeah, or I use it, so I'll show you in a second, actually.
Richard is asking, does Rachel use a paper texture film on her iPad?
No, I don't. I watched one of these the other day, and someone had one, like paper-like thing. Yeah, it looks really cool.
Octavia had it too, and well, yeah, both.
I don't. Maybe I need to get it. I know. I'd heard of them. I think I saw it as an advert. It came up on my thing. I was like, oh, that looks cool, and that was it.
Yeah, but it's so controversial. It divides everyone, right? Some people are
I don't. Like, I haven't really. I don't see the point. That's just me.
If it works for you, I think I've heard from Octavia that she uses it because she still draws a lot on paper, and it feels more like the real thing she's used to.
Okay.
I think it depends on what you're used to.
I think it's also about your hand, and the way it kind of slips. And if you're spending a lot of time on the iPad, I guess it's
Yeah, I think I've just got used to this now.
Craving it.
Yeah, just same old. There was some brown hair. I think a lot of the drawings I do as well, I look at them and I'm like, that could be me. Like, where's your inspiration come from? Just my face.
And is it an iPad that you have? We're getting asked in the chat.
It's just, this is one of the older ones, this one. See? Oh, it's one of the, like, I don't know what year it is, but it's not one of the newer ones. I think I got it in 2008, maybe.
You're due an update, a little upgrade.
Yeah, I know. It's hard times though, isn't it?
And Munir is asking, can Fresco works being animated on Adobe XD? Yes, that's what I did with Octavia's drawing. So apparently you can save a Fresco drawing as a Photoshop file, and in XD you can open Photoshop files and Illustrator files, and then just animate the layers. I flattened a lot of layers, I have to say, so the animation is smoother. Yeah. And I just kept the actual Romeo that she drew, and then the two wheels. So I had 3 layers, 1 wheel, 2 second wheel, and the actual figure of Romeo with the bicycle frame. Yeah. And then I just animated it in 2 artboards, and Romeo is cycling now.
That's cool. If I was, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, if I was going to like animate the hair on this, like just the hair, I'd flatten everything else, like you say, and then also like draw behind the hair. So if I move it, so under here, I try and make like the full body so that if the hair moves, then it doesn't hide. So like body's still there underneath it, rather than it, because normally I just draw it like this, and it's a bit easier to, quicker. You have to think about that, but
so you're going to fuller shapes as well.
Yeah, that's something to think about when.
Yeah, I love that it had all the layers, because Octavia apologized, sorry for the many layers, and I was like, no, it's good because I can flatten what I need to flatten, and also she drew it in landscape like most of you guys do, and my phone was obviously in portrait, so I was able to move some of the layers down and just convert her drawing into a portrait format in a way. So I used some plant pots that were on the side, and I moved them below so they fit in a portrait format and stuff. So it was cool, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I end up with loads and loads of layers, and not always that well organized.
As long as that. Print them, do you have to organize them?
You print them?
Yeah.
It depends on the client. Okay. I have one of the clients that I have done some things with. They print in Pantone Colors, so I had to separate one color that they had throughout the magazine. I separated that to all the others in Photoshop, and then sent them the Photoshop file. But most of the time, not really. People like a CMYK image, or I think a lot of the time they don't even mind if you send them like an sRGB image, they can still use that, so it's quite cool.
Okay.
Someone actually mentioned Pantone Colors in the chat, saying that the latest ones released were very you, so
have a look at this.
Yeah, have a look. It was earlier.
Yeah, I just noticed this on my Instagram. So we took some photos for the like picture yesterday, and I posted it on my Instagram, and the color of the t-shirt that I was wearing is like exactly the same as some of the colors I use in my illustrations.
Your
Oh,
brand.
so embarrassing.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, silly me, but oh well.
You use what you love.
Yeah, exactly. I think I wear it all day. I wear a lot of like lighter colors as well. Just nice things.
We had this question before in another stream where Rufus asked who names their layers, and I always feel it's not a general question that you can ask. I always feel it depends on the background, because when you say you create this artwork and then you send it off to get printed, why would you name your layers? I don't see a reason for that. Whereas I have always named my layers, because my work has always been, back in the days, web design, and I always had to hand over, back in the days, my Photoshop file to a developer who had to work from it and code it. So I want to make their life easier, obviously, because they're my colleagues, right? So I always feel it's not a general question. It always depends on what it's being used for afterwards.
Yeah, and that's how you need to deliver the file, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
I see a lot of designers are kind of used to doing it as well. So this kind of habit is there, even though you don't really know the output in the end. So yeah, in agency, it was the same for me as well. I always noticed everyone just being so organized, but it's time consuming if you're not, and having to do it.
Yeah, I just too disorganized. My life is quite disorganized, so I had to tidy up yesterday. This is tidy for me, which is actually quite messy. So I can't expect to name everything.
Hey, at least you have a shelf. Think that
It's organized.
Yeah.
I mean, I like tidied. I'm so messy. Like when I was at university, I used to get called Mess. That was my nickname. Just my life, everything was just
friendly. I don't know what university you went to.
no, just mean people. No, that's just a reflection of what I was like.
That's very unlike your biology background, where you feel like you have to be very.
Yeah, you have to be very precise with that. It's probably why it never worked out.
Can you imagine ever going back in that profession?
At the moment, I was like, yeah,
you should have the best options, right? Because
yeah,
you can do both.
Yeah, they had I looked at some like biomedical. It's quite hard to get into that as a job. You have to have quite a lot of other qualifications other than a degree. So I don't know, a lot of effort. It's a good and I think I'd like to do it now, while this is going on. But by the time you're trained up, it'll be over, and then back to drawing.
I don't know if you have felt the same. I have a bit of a similar background than you, but I did all my 3 university degrees in design. But before I graduated from biotechnological high school,
and cool.
It was not because I wanted to. It was the only option, more or less, where I grew up. And I've learned a lot. But what I always struggled with was not only mathematics, for sure, but it was also that I could never. You read so much about viruses and proteins and how it goes through the cells into the blood circulation and blah. And you read all of that, and yeah, it all makes sense. But I was never able to visualize it. And then when we had lab sessions, I was always standing there. Then you use like all these little tiny amounts, a mu or whatever, and then you just drop it and you put it in a centrifuge, and then you just sit next to it 10 minutes and you're just waiting. Or you put some DNA through the gel electrophoresis and you're just waiting.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, you have your agar plate and you touch it to different surfaces and then you wait a week and see what's growing. And it was just always so long, and I could never see it, I never had the patience. Did you feel the same?
Yeah, I think I just got really bored of it. It's really bad, isn't it? I think when you're just like, when you have, I think I find this, when I have to do stuff, I get really fed up of it really quickly. But if I'm like, I'm doing this because I like it, then it's fine. But because I originally just wanted to be a doctor, I was like, I don't want to be doing this anyway. And why do I have to put, and also we did loads of stuff on animals, which is horrible. Like a guinea pig intestine.
Luckily, we had a pig liver once, and I went out of the room because I've been vegetarian all my life. I can't see dead bodies. I can't see blood. I was completely the wrong person to be at this school.
Yeah.
It was horrific. Even the smell, and I was just like, no, can't deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite hard. Ugh.
It must have been quite daunting to join into the creative industry at first, right, Rachel? And kind of picking that up and
I think I was
for your clients, but I'm sure there was a bit of pressure as well, right?
Yeah, I think I was lucky because like my husband Max does what he does. He's been freelance since we've been together. So I knew kind of what the freelance life was like, and then I was like, I want to do that as well. So in that sense, that was quite nice. And but yeah, it's not the easiest industry to get into, but it's not completely horrible too. It's like a in betweeny. I think when you go at that looks awful, but when you go at it on your own, it's quite hard, and it's quite actually. There's a group too. This is what else I've done. So I joined this, like, they're called the Collective. They're like a group of girls, and there's lots of women, lots of illustrators and other design companies, and that's been really nice. Like everyone just supports each other, and I've only been since October last year, but it's been so nice. Like everyone's just so friendly, like always on each other's side. That's been great about getting into kind of, and they give there's a load of like guidance too on fixing your website and stuff like that. But then there's other, like the AOI is really good for things like that too. So, yeah.
And Hannah was asking if you share a studio with your husband.
Well, if my house counts.
Fair enough. I mean, especially now we're all, home, house,
Exactly.
office, it's all in one. So
Yeah. Well, we did have like an office. So his office is basically our dining room. So I used to be in there as well, but then we had our kitchen done recently, and we've turned the old utility room into my studio. So it's nice. It's quite nice to have our own space as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise,
we have Munir saying, I only name the layers when I work for clients. I usually don't name layers when I do personal projects.
Yeah.
And Carola is saying, I put names in my layers in Photoshop when I have a lot of them. Then it is easier to find the layers when working.
Yeah.
And we have James asking you, Rachel, what's the biggest challenge when it comes to working with your clients?
I think when you work with professional clients, everything is, people know what they're doing and they know what to expect from an illustrator. I think if people have, like, I really struggle working with kind of friends and family sometimes, put that in a nice way, that don't understand the industry and don't kind of understand what it takes, and that, you spent years learning your craft. I think that sounds a bit cheesy, but I think that's when I struggle, when I'm doing stuff for people that don't understand. It just frustrates me, but that's just me being, I think, not always the easiest person. But,
and Sandrine is asking, is there a reason why the outline layer isn't on top when you're coloring?
If I have it on top, I could probably make it lighter. That's probably a better way of doing it. But it's so that I can see underneath. I've lost my layer. There you go. So that I can, if I go on top, then I can see the edges a bit better. If I do it underneath, then I end up with like here. Can you see there? Yeah. Like all the dodgy lines.
Do you remove them entirely once it's finished?
Yeah. So I'll just get rid of that.
Okay.
once it's done.
Then
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you have any
I think-
tip how to draw a person?
So one of the things I did when I first started doing this was went to a load of life drawing lessons. There's a place, if anyone lives near us, is Milton Keynes. In Milton Keynes, there's Milton Keynes Art Centre, and I signed up for like weekly sessions of life drawing with Sarah. She's great, and she taught me a lot about anatomy and like how the body is proportioned, and I think then you can mess about with it, but once you know the basis of a body, it's easier. So like I think it all comes a bit naturally now. So I might get this wrong, she'd tell me off, but like your waist is kind of in the middle of your body, and you know your head's got this so many, you could look it up, maybe Google will tell you, but it's like keeping things in proportion generally, but then you can look at stuff and make, like, I quite a lot of the time I make heads smaller and legs longer and wider, just to play around with it. It makes it a bit more fun. But that's how I started doing it, was starting with like the basis of it and then changing things around a bit, if that makes sense.
Interestingly, we have Richard who's mentioned botany as well, and kind of natural, inspired illustration. Was that something that you wanted to go into because of your biology background, or how did you get to the subjects you draw now?
I just like plants. I think lots of
doesn't.
we've seen. Yeah, I really like plants, and I think they make me happy, so I draw them. But no, I don't. No, that's not why I like them. I think I just like them because they're pretty. It's quite cool to see stuff grow as well. I think it was just me being a bit geeky. I like watching stuff get bigger and grow. And most of the time I kill my houseplants though, so.
Oh.
Your animations next.
Exactly.
I can help with that.
Yes. I need the help.
You give me drawing tips, I give you planting tips.
Okay, sounds good.
We have Richard saying, I've always been fascinated by biology because I trained as a natural history illustrator, but I've stuck with botany as you don't have to go anywhere near dissections. Yeah.
Doing it. Like that.
And Richard is saying Rachel doesn't seem to use the paint bucket tool.
No, I think when you like, if you do it, it just gives a really blocky color, and I like having some texture to the drawing.
Can you see the texture when you print it?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that looks horrible. Sorry. I think I can see it on my screen as well, and when I see it bigger, I'm like, oh god.
So how real does it look when you print it? Do people sometimes think you did paint that on paper?
Yeah, I've had people. So I like when I do fairs and stuff like that. I've lost the brush I was just using. Okay, well, we'll go with that one. I did like a fair just before Christmas, and then also that was another thing I did that was really good. I did New Designers last year. They call it 1 year in. And it's really good for promoting your work. Basically had this massive stand that I could do whatever I wanted with, and loads of people come and see your work. But
is that in
while
London?
I was there, pardon?
Is that in London or?
Yeah, but I think it's been cancelled this year, which is obviously. But while I was there, people were like, "Oh, do you paint these?" I was like, "What?" Like I'd never even thought about that before, that it looked like it was painting. But yeah, people get confused, which is pretty cool. I find it a bit of a compliment sometimes.
Interesting. Could you 3D print it so it has like a surface?
Probably. Really...
Is that possible?
Like on something, or like in 3D?
No, in 3D, so it has like the texture of oil, or when you are in a museum and you watch the real oil paintings, they're always so thick and you see the structures. Or
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Just having Monet in front of my eyes, when you have all these brush strokes and, it's just so thick. It has like a texture. I mean, you can't touch it, but
nice.
if you were to touch it, you would feel it's like they're real waves. He not only drew the waves, they are real waves. And
yeah, that would be so cool.
Can you do that? I don't know how. I'm not into printing anymore.
I have no idea about 3D printing.
No,
sorry.
I just know 3D printing for architects because when I did my master's, I had a lot of interior designers and architects in my course, and I knew 3D printing from them. But not, but not for paintings.
Yeah. It's like more interactive as well, right? I could see that being really great for children as well. And just having a tangible side to
Finally you can touch a painting. Nobody tells you off.
Like, no.
You guys must be able to do that.
Touch my own ones when I was at uni, so I could finally feel it, because where else can you touch them? No museum you're allowed to touch anything like that.
That's true. That'd be really cool.
Do you have any tips for people out there who also want to get into illustration, who might be also in a different profession and are scared of making the move?
So from a starting out point of view, I think it's like just practicing, just loads of drawing is what kind of you end up with a style. Then it's like, for me, this has all been very natural. Like, I've got my style from just drawing lots and lots and lots, and also being inspired by other people, but obviously not copying them. But I think a lot of the time I'd look at someone else's work and be like, I really like this aspect of it, then see how I can use that in a similar way in my own work, rather than straight out and copying other people, which is naughty.
And you also mentioned part of a community, right, as well, to get your foot in, get a bit of support and inspiration from others. So
so I think the only way I started was like getting clients, was just being a buggy person and emailing people and sending them stuff. Like, I think it's really hard sometimes to kind of get your name out there, but that's the only way to do it. Like, people aren't going to know who you are. Like, you can't expect them to either. So I think it's just bugging people, which is really horrible to do, but that's the way to do it.
Part of the job.
Yeah, they don't. They just don't know who you are.
Are you planning to add a background to this drawing, or is it supposed to be white?
I'm not sure.
Because I'm always fascinated how you all start off a white background, and then at the very, very end you draw everything first, and at the very end you apply a background. Is there a reason for it?
I don't know. Sometimes I'll work with a background first, but this is a bit more of like a spot illustration, I'd call it. If it was in a magazine, it would just be a tiny little thing with a white background anyway. But when I do like a bigger piece, I'll always put a background in and then work. I like using a background too when like the colors are switched. So if I'm using white, obviously you can't see white on a white background, so I'll switch the background to be something else, and then you can always change it at the end as well.
Cool.
I just realized what the time is, and I'm not even close.
True, don't worry.
Emma, we have almost reached the end of our stream, haven't we?
Oh no.
Feel your first stream.
You're fine, no panic. Please share this on your Instagram and website, and let everyone know where they can find this as well. But we have to quickly wrap things up. Was there anything else you wanted to say, Rachel?
No.
That's all good. It's fine.
I don't think so. This is what else I do though. So I'd like to color inside the thing instead of like to work deconstructively. I just copy the mask and put another mask on this one. Cool. And then I work on this layer, and then it doesn't go outside the lines, which is really cool. Like this. See? and you can change the colors too. But that's what I do. And then I'll add texture and then details. And yeah.
Thanks, Rachel.
I'll upload this to Behance or something afterwards.
Sounds good. You told me about your Behance portfolio, so there are loads of platforms to find you on.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks. Thanks, Stephanie, for having me. Everyone for welcoming me on today. And Rachel, thanks for your time. We'll be here every day from 12 to 1 p.m. as usual. It's not changing. Put it in your diaries. Do what you need to do. Take a break from all the banana bread baking and everything that's going on in the world right now. And come along to see us. And yeah, see you same time tomorrow, guys.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you, Rachel. And thanks everyone in the chat. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.